Collins here, and today we are back with a brand new video. Now, this is a new series on the channel that I kind of wanted to start. Now, there is not going to be any face cam in this series because I don't feel like it's necessary, and I feel like it would probably distract from the main point of the video, which is basically what's going on in this week. I decided to title this series This Week because why the fuck not? I honestly don't know. And I know this content is basically kind of unoriginal. Lots of people just talk about what shit happens in the specific week. But I really don't care. And I want to talk about shit too. Because I want views, I want money, I want clout and fame. Now the story that kind of inspired me to do this series is a story that is actually so small to the point where I didn't really have time or the place to make it its own video. It'd be kind of ridiculous if I were to do that, but the story is pretty funny and interesting, so therefore I kind of want to talk about it anyway. So the story is about how Ninja doesn't know how to cut fucking bread.
I don't think I know how to cut this the way I think I need to.
Oh, okay. You
so
should.
Do I cut at it like from a side? I think this is going to be a big ass sandwich.
Yes, that is true.
Now the story comes from a cooking channel known as Bon Appetit, which is known for its, cooking and basically video tutorials on cooking and a bunch of other videos. Now one of those kind of more popular series that's been going on for quite some time now is a series where basically they have amateur chefs try cooking without knowing what to do, and have like a master chef tell them what's going on and such and such. And recently this week they featured Ninja in their lineup because why the fuck not? And the bastard didn't know how to fucking cut bread.
What if I just did this, cut it in half? You know what? I think I got this. I like my bread. I'll take my bread.
Great.
It's pretty weird that he doesn't know how to cut bread, but the fact of the matter is that people have been blowing up this story out of proportion, and honestly, it's actually kind of insane how some people's reactions were. I mean, take Skittles, for example, who kind of had a pretty interesting reaction to this whole story.
But I'm still very pressed on that bread thing. Like, how do you not know how to slice a loaf of bread? Like, it just does not make any sense to me. Like, you never ever saw a sandwich getting made as a kid. You never cut a loaf of bread as a kid. You've never done it before. Like, you've just never ever seen a slice of bread being cut before.
And all honesty though, I do think it's pretty ridiculous. You figure the guy should know how to cut bread, but hey, I guess the guy is just a little retarded because he's still the same guy who claimed that fucking Fortnite is more difficult than kicking in the NFL. Which, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but both me, my sister, who is 9 by the way, and my 6-year-old brother, all of us can kind of play fucking Fortnite. We may not be perfect at the game, we may kind of suck sometimes, but we can fucking play it. Whereas we would never make the NFL. So the next story comes from boomers on Twitter. Yes, boomers are still rampant on Twitter. Now, the boomers that I'm going to be talking about are actually two of the hosts from the Daily Wire, Matt Walsh and Michael Knowles. Now, these two people usually have pretty decent hot takes when it comes to politics and such, You may disagree with them, you may agree with them, it doesn't really matter. But never have I ever seen such a hot take gone so wrong. Now this past week, just to give a little bit of clarification, Twitter has been kind of being anti-pornography or something like that, where a bunch of people are coming out and being basically anti-porn, which I'll get into my opinion on that in just a sec. But basically, let's read some of these wonderful tweets from these wonderful, wonderful people. Let's start off with Matt Walsh's tweet, which is the one I ended up responding to as well. So basically it goes off by saying, children readily access hardcore porn. This exposure damages them in serious and measurable ways. This is a reason enough to make laws restricting it. Either that, or we can continue to sit back like emasculated dopes yammering about free speech while kids are destroyed. Let's continue on and let's read what Michael Knowles had to say about the situation. We regulate gambling, booze, and tobacco on the internet. You need to prove that you're 21 to buy a pack of cigarettes online. You need an ID to buy a Playboy. Why is everyone so frazzled about the prospect of applying the regs that we have for cigarettes and nudie mags to internet porn? Now, another tweet that replied to me that I wanted to go over. Now, to give some context, I ended up saying something along the lines of how I don't think it's right for the government to regulate porn and such. With that context being said, let's get into this tweet. This person responds saying, actually it is, referring to the government regulating porn. It is their responsibility. So yeah, he says, actually it is, and if you or any parents are letting your children access porn freely, then as a conservative, I have no trouble with the government taking your children. This is always the problem with libertarians. Why have any laws or rules or etiquette? Now, if you want me to get all political and such, again, follow me on Twitter, but my basic gist of how I think of this tweet, or what I think of this response is the fact that laws are made to protect our freedoms, not to regulate what we can and cannot watch. That is up to the parents' decision up until you're 18, and once you're 18, as a legal adult, you can do whatever you want. If you want to spend 24/7 jerking it off to fucking hardcore pornography on fucking Pornhub, that is your choice. But until you're 18, it is your parents' decision. And if they choose not to let you watch pornography, then, that's their choice. And they can regulate your cell phone usage or your internet privileges as much or as little as they wish, as they are your parents. So let's kind of break down why I think the whole pornography argument is pretty dumb in general. I'm not really going to be political per se, but I'm going to be more so talking about parenting and making fun of parents and such and such. This is going to be less government focused and more parent focused is what I'm trying to say. So, with that being said, let's just jump right into it. When it comes down to it, when the parents start, restricting their children and taking away their freedoms and, not letting them, be free, they're basically turning their children into little rebels, because children, much like young adults, don't like being told what to do. That's kind of the main reason why a lot of children tend to move out when they get older, if they're not kicked out of the home, should I say. If a child is not kicked out of the home and they willingly try to leave, it's probably because they want the freedom, they want the privileges, they want to live on their own and do their own thing without having all these rules and regulations. If a parent, is more laxed and, allows a child to do things like, watch porn and such, then maybe the child would rather stay with their parents because, hey, it's free rent, or at the very least cheaper than, renting from another person. It's cheaper, easier living. So it's just something that I would assume most children would want to do. But because of such parenting, it can lead to, them wanting to leave and be on their own and have independence. That's kind of the main thing. And in any case, I don't think the child is going to take no for an answer. If you don't let them watch porn, they'll find ways to access it. I mean, children are smart as fuck, dude. I mean, if they really want to watch it, if they're driven to want to watch some titty porn, they will find a way to do it, irregardless of your protections and such. So there's the argument being made against, easy to access hardcore porn, and that is the argument that porn can ruin, children's mental health and such. But a lot of the people who are arguing this are more religiously driven, and I'm not saying that religion is bad or anything. There is no problem with believing in a higher power, whether that be a god or multiple gods. The problem is you're trying to push an agenda based on your religion. Instead of doing it based on your own political beliefs, you're doing it because the Bible told you to, or the Bible says it's a sin to watch porn. Now, all the sources, or at the very least the majority of them, that say that porn destroys the mental health of children are more so religiously driven than not. Now, with all this in mind, at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to stop your child from doing so. Now, one last argument against all this is the fact that, kids, teenagers, they're going through puberty, and during puberty, you got hormones and shit, which is god-awful. Take it from me, I'm 17, and I've basically gone through puberty, and I'm basically in the final stages, But it's basically a shit show of hormones, and, You know, would you rather your kids be jerking it to porn or fucking some prostitute on the street? You know, that's basically my thought process on it. Because if you don't let your kids watch porn, they're gonna find other ways to relieve themselves, if you know what I mean. I don't know, guys. Let me know your opinions in the comment section down below. Should we make it harder for kids to access porn? But let's get into the next story of the day, which is about YouTube's new Terms of Service policy update. It was basically just this new policy update to help mitigate harassment on YouTube. However, it basically became an entire shit show because of the way YouTube is starting to treat the situation and how they're regulating and basically enforcing their rules and policies. Now, a good example of this is iDubbbz, who makes Content Cop. Now, if you don't know what Content Cop is basically a series where iDubbbz goes out and basically makes fun of a YouTuber and basically criticizes them for a myriad of reasons, whether it be because their content is dog shit or the things that they've done in the past are dog shit or whatever. But either way, he basically makes a whole joke about the situation as well as basically criticizing the person. So while making jokes, he's also critiquing the person. So it's a pretty good series. It's gotten pretty popular, I would say. But his Content Cop on Leafy, which was arguably one of the most popular, ended up getting taken down from YouTube because it violated this new harassment policy. Now, I don't know if you know this, but that video was made 3 years ago, back in 2016. In fact, it was almost 4 years ago because it was made in 2016 and it's almost 2020 now. So it was made nearly 4 years ago. It didn't violate any rules back then, but now because this new rule is in place, it's taken down now. And that basically bothers me because it doesn't make sense. Like, how are YouTubers supposed to prepare for this? Like, I'm sure no one in 2016 was prepared for this new harassment policy coming out 4 years later. So any video made before this rule update should, you know, not get taken down because, you know, at the end of the day, these videos were made a long time ago. So taking down a video from that long ago because it violates a new rule just implemented is pretty bullshit at that. And at the end of the day, the video didn't even violate any rules. The whole video was basically a criticism of Leafy's bullying styles, as well as basically making fun of him for having no chin. Now I'm going to read some parts of the new update that YouTube has put out, so let's get into it. Over the last several years, we have worked to improve the way we manage content on YouTube by quickly removing it when it violates our community guidelines, reducing the spread of borderline content, raising up authoritative voices when people are looking for breaking news and information, and rewarding trusted creators and artists that make YouTube a special place. Today we're announcing a series of policy and product changes that update how we tackle harassment on YouTube. A stronger stance against threats and personal attacks. We've always removed videos that explicitly threaten someone, reveal confidential or personal information, or encourage people to harass someone else. Moving forward, our policies will go a step further and not only prohibit explicit threats, but also veiled or implied threats, which that include content simulating violence towards an individual or language suggesting physical violence may occur. No individual should be subject to harassment that suggests violence. Beyond threatening someone, there is also demeaning language that goes too far. To establish a content criteria for what type of content is not allowed on YouTube, we're building up upon the framework of our hate speech policy. Now I'm going to stop right there and just say that hate speech is still free speech. And honestly, my hot take on all this situation is simply this. If you make videos on the internet, then you have a right to be criticized, whether it be harshly criticized or just lightly criticized. But either way, you have a right to be criticized. I mean, if you upload a video to YouTube and you're like, I don't want anyone to criticize this, I don't want anyone to judge me for it, then why the hell did you upload it to YouTube in the first place? People are gonna judge and criticize you nevertheless, so if that's really your biggest concern and worry, then you really shouldn't upload the video to YouTube. And honestly, no matter what you say, this new policy update is fucking ridiculous, and it just shows how pussy some of us YouTubers really are. If YouTube is telling the truth and multiple creators were concerned about the harassment policy on YouTube, or concerned about harassment in general, honestly, it's just fucking ridiculous, and it just shows that how pussy that we've gotten over these several years. Like, we can't even say something like we can't even make a fucking joke towards someone without offending them. Like, what the actual fuck, dude? This is just too fucking far. And honestly, there's nothing we can do as a YouTube community. There's nothing we can fucking do about this, and that's honestly the most ridiculous part about this story. Now, with that being said, my channel is actually legit, like, no joke, no sarcasm, whatever, legit, in danger of being terminated. Now, these new policy updates, like I said before, have terminated old videos that may or may not have violated the terms of service. And I don't know if you know this, but I do have old and new videos that may or may not violate these new terms of service. There is definitely some concern for whether or not my videos do or do not. And honestly, I am genuinely worried about losing all that I've created over these past almost 6 years now. Because there's not much I can do about it. If YouTube decides to strike my channel down, 3 strikes and I'm out, then I will have to move to another more trusted website and another more trusted site that I can go to upload amazing content to. And you know what? I think I found the perfect site. Pornhub, dude. If YouTube decides to strike down my channel, I can assure you I will be moving to Pornhub and making the same fucking content I've been making for the past 6 years. I mean, what is Pornhub gonna do? They're not gonna try and strike me down. Pornhub, as far as I'm concerned, treats their creators with respect and decency and courtesy. I mean, they upload porn to their website, for fuck's sake, so I don't think they're gonna be too concerned about me swearing or being a little mean to other people. And at the end of the day, if I'm being dead serious, no joke, no sarcasm, no nothing, I will legit move to Pornhub if YouTube decides to strike down my channel, because really there is no other platform I can go to. Twitch is for streaming, and even then they're pretty strict about what you can and can't say. Vimeo is kind of small and also pretty strict too. And BitChute, which is actually a website I do upload to right now, link in the description down below. The problem with BitChute is it's really, really small, and it's kind of hard to form a community on there, especially with the type of content that I make. Because unless you're like a more political channel, which is kind of what BitChute is made for, more political, free speech kind of things, you're not going to have that as much of an easy time making content on BitChute, and you're probably not going to make an established fan base for a while. And as for me, I only have 1 subscriber there, so you know how well it's going for me there. So honestly, I think Pornhub is gonna have to do. So if I genuinely, get my channel struck down, follow me on Twitter and I'll show you some updates. I'll talk about it there. I know I'm plugging in my Twitter quite hard, but with this new update, that's basically the only place you'll be able to contact me. So if you're not already, follow me on Twitter. It's a very good way to get into contact with me. If you tweet at me, I'll try to respond as soon as humanly possible. So yeah. Now for the final story of today, I did want to talk about it, and it's about the Greta Thunberg incident. So if you guys don't know, Greta Thunberg, who is basically a very, very, very big environmental activist, should I say, was formally elected the Person of the Year by Times Magazine. Now, this had some pretty controversial reactions. A lot of people loved it, a lot of people hated it. For me personally, I just thought it was pretty ridiculous, because she didn't really do that much, honestly. She did raise a lot of awareness for that, and I will give her credit. She did definitely raise awareness for the environment, but there was so much more people that were probably more qualified for the position of Person of the Year. Take, for example, Mr. Beast, who literally dedicated the past 3 or 4 months to planting 20 million trees, and at the moment, he has planted 18 million. He's raised awareness as well as over $18 million to plant a tree for Team Trees. And it's just insane the amount of effort he's put into his videos, as well as the amount of effort he put into this Team Trees idea. I mean, he was working on this whole idea for months prior, and when it finally released, it was a huge deal, and it blew up, and he was able to get billionaires like Elon Musk to come on and donate over $1 million, as well as many other content creators on YouTube to donate $50, $60, $70, $80, $90, $100,000 plus. Many content creators came along and donated thousands of dollars to this cause, and millions of people decided to donate $1, $5, $10, or whatever they could donate to help support the cause. And it just shows how strong we are together as a community. But the thing we gotta remember is we would not be here without Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast did an amazing job this year, and I would have loved to see him be elected as Person of the Year. But I guess Time Magazine doesn't really care about Mr. Beast, but Greta Thunberg, who basically is just a child being used as a pawn to push agendas, it's just ridiculous. But that's the end of this video. Hope you guys did enjoy. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. With all that being said, I hope you guys did enjoy. Goodbye and farewell.